Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Dookie Forge, the show where I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm hoping people will watch, and also, eventually, I can make good videos that people enjoy, and watch me not know what I'm doing as I'm doing things. In this episode, it's, well, I'm hoping it's going to be a success, because the project I have in mind is a Christmas gift for my mother, who I'm going to visit here soon. And that is an incense holder, you know, it's like the incense sticks. And it's nothing elaborate, nothing crazy. So I think I can make it with my current skill set. But it's still going to be pretty difficult. In the previous video, one of the previous videos, I made a texturing tool, and that's what this project was. What that texturing tool was actually for. Is to put lines in the incense holder. It's going to be like I'll show the design here, but it's like a curly Q leaf feather type thing. I'm not going crazy with it because I just don't know what I'm doing. I'm also making a fullering type tool for putting in a vein, the vein in the center of the leaf feather thing. So that's what this episode is hopefully going to be. And, well, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. It's another project I've never done before, including a lot of skills and techniques that I've never done before. So let's do it. Well, the project, the incense holder, I modeled it in 3D, obviously. I think I showed it here. But and I think I got all the scales right. I think I did, but it feels wrong. So what the design calls for is like roughly a 27.5-inch length. Obviously the 2-inch wide and the tapering down to, you know, just a regular taper is fine, but I'm more concerned about the 27.5 inches long to make this shape. In 3D, it looks all right. I like the way it looks, but when I measure it out in real life, it just feels way too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape some paper together, measure it out, cut it out of paper, and just kind of mock it up and just see how it feels, and then, you know, adjust the length of the paper and, you know, taper and all that stuff. Because I think I did it right in 3D, but I could have made a mistake somewhere and got some scale weird something or other and made it all, you know, messed up. So to me, this feels too long. This is, what did I make it, 27? I think I made it an even 27. Yeah, 27 inches long, 2-inch down to a 1/2 inch taper, whatever. And it just feels way too long. So I'm guessing it's probably, well, I mean, I can kind of curl it in and roughly get the length of what the curls are going to be, and then I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna figure out the length of these curls. And then I'm gonna figure out how to kind of, well, I'm just gonna mark them, I guess, how long the curls are, and then I can measure the in-between space and see if that's just way too long or not. I'm not gonna have you watch me futz with this piece of paper and have, try to curl it and, all that stuff. So I will be back. All right, so I've been messing with this for a while, and what I came down to was roughly each curl is gonna be 6 inches off the top. So I just put a, hard crease there where the 6-inch mark is. And roughly, they're gonna, this one's gonna curl roughly like that. So roughly 6 inches, maybe 6.5 for the back, and then also 6 inches for the front one, which is plenty for the front curl. And what that leaves you with, if you measure between now the 6-inch area, is roughly 16 and a half inches. And if the average incense stick is 12 inches or longer, then you could say, okay, so if that's where the curl starts, that's where the curl starts. Roughly somewhere in this beginning, wherever you want to mount it, I'm going to put holes on either side. It'll be, 1 to 2 inches before the curl starts. So somewhere right here at an angle, roughly a foot, you see how it actually will line up pretty well. So it feels way too long for what I want to do. But once you minus the 6 inches either side for, this was 6, right? Yeah. Once you minus the 6 inches, so I'll probably go 6.5 on the back side, because that, I don't know, it didn't feel quite enough for this meaty. Feel like quite enough. So I'll probably go 6.5 on the back and 5.5 on the narrower side. Well, the piece I had in there right now just wasn't long enough. And so I'm going out here to get some more steel. Well, put this back and then get a bigger piece. And hopefully I have enough, which I think I do. If I don't, that'll be a real bummer. So there's this piece. Where is the other? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I should be able to get a usable 27 inches out of this. So I'm gonna cut it. I don't know if I'm gonna use the angle grinder or just hacksaw it, because it doesn't take long to cut this stuff. I'll just have to do it in sections. But yeah, I'm gonna cut this up. And then whatever step I do next, I have no clue. I'm just gonna kind of pick whichever one I like. So things are gonna get real crazy here soon. Exciting, I guess. am in the middle of putting in that vein. It's going all right. It's bad timing because obviously the guillotine tool would be perfect for this because I can't, I don't have enough hands to hold it and do all this other stuff. But essentially, if you can see, I'm kind of leaning it up on the table and stretching it across to here and then hitting it, and it's working all right. Hopefully in the near future I can make some dies for the guillotine tool to make things like this a lot easier. But I'm just going to continue doing this, and well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. It's going to look pretty rough. It's not going to look too clean, but you know what? It'll give it more character. Well, let me grab this camera. That actually went fairly well, I think. Anybody out there that's done this kind of thing before, obviously a guillotine tool would make this, with the right dies, would make this so much easier. But considering what I did and what I had to do, it went pretty well. I have hammered up, veined down the whole thing. Looking pretty cool. Now, some of the next steps. One of them is using the texturing tool on basically on all these flats and hammering all the way, which of course this tool will be ruined probably by the end of this. But I want to put lines in there, down. And then one of the other things is this right here is a 6.5 inches, so this is going to be the back curl. And what I want to do is from the 6.5 where the curl starts, I want to grind off, kind of like taper this, reverse taper, because this is going to curl underneath itself. If I just left it like this, these corners would stick out, and I don't want that. So I'm probably going to just take it to the belt grinder real quick at some point and just kind of reverse taper, not reverse taper, but put a taper, grind a taper on both sides here so that this part doesn't stick out wider, because essentially this area is going to be underneath here and I don't want the widest part to stick out when it's curled underneath. This side will be just fine. I might just do a little 45 on the corners just to cut those off. And then I'm also going to just touch up the edges of the whole thing on the belt grinder just to get rid of any sharp edges and stuff like that. So I might do that right now. So I just shaped it real quick on the grinder, the belt grinder, and essentially you see how it basically from this point and back tapers a little bit, so it's thinner over here than it is over here. So that way at the curve point is the widest, and then it gets narrower so that it doesn't get fatter underneath. And then I just put a little 45 on here and just to clean it up. So I am going to go back through and just do some light hammer blows on the edges just to re-texture those with the hammer blows on the top here. And then we will move on to the texture tool. So that's where I will see you. So I was afraid of this, immediately rounded everything off. And of course, as a result, makes really fat lines down it. So my option is either I don't do those lines down the thing, which is an option, or I break out this guy and I start doing lines by hand. And that would literally take me hours, but they would look better. I mean, this could be roughly hidden because it'll be curled under, so it's not entirely ruined, but the thought of doing each individual line by hand is definitely a bummer. But this thing, unfortunately, you know, all I have right now is mild steel, and well, I was hoping this would last somewhat longer, but it did not. What to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by hand. I'm going to use a slightly sharper chisel, and I'm just going to go down it by hand. And I don't know how much of that I'm going to record, but you know, it's going to be a long ways. Might record a little bit, but I'm just going to be sitting here going down it. All right, well, that didn't take too long to do it by hand, but that is definitely not the efficient way to do it, and that is a reason why everybody does this stuff under a power hammer or some kind of somewhat automated texturing tool, like a treadle hammer or something like that with an actual tool would be really nice. But I don't know if it's showing up on the GoPro, but I like how the hammer, I went over it with the hammer marks for the whole surface, and then under, you can still see the hammer marks in the reflections, but then there's the texture lines running down it, which I think you know, as everything I'm making isn't great, but doable. Oh, so now I gotta do this side. And I'm already yawning looking down this thing. Going down the length, and then I'm gonna just then basically after I'm done putting the texture in, what's left is the curls, and then just fine-tuning the curls and the swoop-de-doop on this thing. All right, well, I'm gonna get to the other side and start working. Well, holy moly guacamole. It's been 82,000 hours and 72 days later, and I'm finally done hand hammering the textured lines that I wanted. If I were to redo this, I would do less density on the lines, but I was trying to cover up that really bad looking forward area that I kind of jacked up in the beginning when I started using the mild steel lining tool. And if I were to redo it again, I would have made this out of tool steel or just bought something. You know what? I should just buy some of these tools that are like to get me started on some projects instead of trying to ruin my way through every single project. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am learning a lot, but holy crap, is it frustrating. And until I get a full shop, which will be in the future, still kind of in a weird spot. So yeah, anyway, I just need more tools and all that stuff. But got it done. So next is the curls, and we have 5.5 inches in the tip and 6.5 inches of curl in the tail. I'm debating whether or not to do that tonight. It's already been getting pretty late just because it took forever to do the hand hammering. It is 8:45 p.m. I'm not super tired, but well, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll at least give the the front curl a shot, and then we'll see how it goes, and if it goes well, then we'll do the back one. we're pretty much done with it. All I have left to do is the oil finish and the drill the holes for the incense sticks. I'm not too happy with it. You know, I'm not too disappointed with it either. The curls didn't quite come out the way I wanted them to. They don't look terrible. And the lines, if I were to read, essentially the lines got so dense and got this way because I was covering up the terrible marks that, what's it called? This thing made. And they looked so bad, I tried to cover them up with dense lines. So if I were to do this again, I would do either no lines or a lot less dense lines. And then I just need to work on those curls. I'm struggling a little bit trying to do bigger curls like this, by eye. Because I start the bend, I curl it around, and it's like if you don't get every section right, trying to undo it and is just, a pain. And what I could maybe do with this one is uncurl it a little bit and then try to curl it bigger so that, it's bigger and then it comes around. So I might try that tomorrow. But it's all right. Well, it is the next morning, and I couldn't sleep. And, well, essentially I came out this morning and redid the scrolls, and I'm much happier with them. They look, they're still not perfect, but they're much more elegant. Now, I did put a tongue oil finish on it, so it's still drying. I went and drilled one hole, and I'm going to have another hole over here, but I wanted to wait until the finish was drying, and then I'll re-oil just those little hole areas and clean them up. But I'm much more happy with it. Essentially, if I couldn't get the scrolls to look better, I was going to redo the whole thing, which I really didn't want to. So I'm glad it's working out. So I'm going to, I guess, wait for the finish, the oil to dry, and then I'm going to drill the hole and do a little bit of cleanup after that. But I'm not going to bother recording that. I'm just drilling the hole and all that stuff, and then I'm going to get some incense sticks so that I can adjust the hole to sit, have them sit at the angle that looks good. So I got to go to the hippie store and get some incense. And so hopefully next you see this, there'll be some incense burning on it and some cool shiz. Maybe, I don't know. I'm glad it came out all right, though. I'm much happier. So.